What if the secret to stronger bones after 50 wasn't in the milk aisle at all, but hidden in tiny seeds, crispy greens, or even a can of fish you've been ignoring? Before we dive in, have you ever wondered if your bone strength is slowly slipping away, even though you're eating right? Or maybe you've tried supplements, and they just didn't seem to work? If that's you, leave me a comment below. Because this video, it was made for someone exactly like you. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to explore the truth about calcium that few people talk about. I'll share 7 surprising foods that outperform milk, show you how to combine nutrients for maximum absorption, and help you avoid the common mistakes that could be silently weakening your bones, day by day. By the end of this video, you won't just know what to eat, you'll know how to eat in a way that helps your body hold on to every bit of strength it deserves. So grab your favorite tea, get comfortable, and let's begin this journey to stronger, smarter bones, naturally. Number 1. Why milk isn't the bone savior you thought it was. My grandfather drank milk every single morning of his life. He was a strong man, tall and proud, served in the Navy, built his own house, never missed a day of work. And yet, at 79, he broke his hip. Not from a fall off a ladder or anything dramatic. Just turning too quickly in the hallway. I remember how confused he was. I drank milk every day, he said quietly from the hospital bed, like something had betrayed him. And that moment stayed with me. For generations, we were taught that milk equals strength. That a glass of milk was the golden ticket to healthy bones. In schools, we were given tiny cartons with our lunch. In commercials, athletes wore milk mustaches like badges of health. It became part of our identity, especially here in America. But here's the truth. Milk is not the villain, but it's also not the hero we once believed. Yes, milk contains calcium, but it's not just about how much you consume. It's about what your body can absorb, and what it actually retains. And as we age, our ability to absorb calcium from dairy drops significantly. Our stomachs produce less acid, we get less vitamin D, and many people become subtly lactose intolerant without even realizing it. Let me tell you about Helen, a viewer from Ohio. She wrote to me after watching one of our earlier videos. I drink 2 glasses of milk every single day, she said, but my doctor says my bone density keeps getting worse. When we talked more, I learned that Helen rarely got outside for sunlight, didn't eat leafy greens, and was taking her calcium pills with coffee every morning. It wasn't the milk that was failing her, it was the missing puzzle pieces all around it. You see, milk by itself is not enough. It's like trying to build a house with bricks but no mortar. You need vitamin D, magnesium, vitamin K2, and a whole orchestra of nutrients that work together to get calcium where it belongs, in your bones, not your arteries. Here's the quiet danger. Relying solely on milk creates a false sense of security. We think we're doing the right thing, while slowly losing strength, balance, and confidence. That's what happened to my grandfather. That's what happened to Helen. And it could be happening to someone you love, right now. Healthy bones aren't built on habit alone, they're built on awareness, balance, and a little curiosity. And speaking of curiosity, if milk isn't the magic bullet, then what is? Let me take you on a journey through 7 unexpected, powerful, and delicious sources of calcium, some of which are already in your pantry. Let's start with one so small, you might have brushed it off without knowing it could transform your bones from the inside out. Coming up next, the mighty chia seed. Number 2. Calcium's role beyond bones, your heart, brain, and muscles depend on it. A few years ago, my friend Carol, who's in her early 60s, started having strange heart flutters. At first, she thought it was stress. Then maybe caffeine. The doctors ran tests. Nothing alarming came up. But one day, her new physician asked something no one had bothered to ask. "How's your calcium intake?" Carol was puzzled. "My bones feel fine," she said. The doctor smiled gently. "I'm not just talking about your bones." That moment changed the way Carol, and I, thought about calcium forever. You see, we've boxed calcium into one job, bone building. But it's so much more than that. Calcium is like electricity running through the body. It helps your heart keep rhythm, your muscles contract and relax, and even your brain sends signals across tiny synapses. Without enough calcium, it's not just your bones that weaken, it's your entire operating system that starts to flicker. Carol learned that her irregular heartbeats weren't some mysterious heart disease. They were early signs of calcium imbalance, worsened by a lack of magnesium and vitamin D, nutrients that act like calcium's teammates. Let me paint a clearer picture. Anatomical heart emoji, your heart, every single heartbeat depends on calcium. It's what triggers the heart muscle to contract. Brain emoji, your brain, calcium helps neurons talk to each other. When levels drop, so can your focus, memory, even mood. Flexed biceps emoji. Your muscles ever had leg cramps at night? Or twitches that seem to come out of nowhere? Calcium and magnesium play a key role there too. And that's just the surface. When we nourish our bones, we also nourish the parts of ourselves we don't see, but feel every day. Carol's story ended well. She began incorporating leafy greens, tahini, and sardines into her diet, along with gentle walks for sunlight. Her heart calmed. Her mind cleared. Her body felt aligned again. So if calcium matters that much, why do we start losing our grip on it as we age? The next part of this journey will explain exactly that. Because no matter how well you eat, your body's ability to absorb calcium changes with time. And once you understand why, you'll understand how to work with your body, not against it. Let's talk about aging, and the hidden reasons calcium slips away after 50. Coming up next, number 3. Aging and absorption, why calcium slips away after 50. My uncle George turned 70 last fall. He's the kind of man who still mows his own lawn, refuses help carrying groceries, and starts every morning with the same routine: scrambled eggs, black coffee, and a glass of milk. Strong bones need milk, he always said, tapping his chest with pride. But this year, something changed. At a routine checkup, his doctor noticed that his bone density had dropped, not by much, but enough to raise concern. George was surprised. "I haven't changed a thing," he said. And that's when the doctor gently explained something many people over 50 don't realize. It's not just what you eat, it's what your body can absorb. You see, aging doesn't just add years to our lives, it quietly changes how our bodies work. Especially when it comes to minerals like calcium. Here's what happens after 50. Our stomachs produce less stomach acid, which is crucial for breaking down and absorbing calcium from food. We spend less time in the sun, which means lower levels of vitamin D, the key that unlocks calcium. And sometimes, medications or other health conditions silently interfere with how our body uses calcium. It's like pouring water into a sponge that's already full, it just doesn't soak in the way it used to. Let me give you a real example. Elaine, a retired nurse from Florida, reached out after struggling with leg cramps and thinning hair. She was taking calcium supplements faithfully every day, but still felt off. Her lab results? Low vitamin D, borderline magnesium, and no sign of improvement in bone strength. It wasn't a lack of effort, it was a lack of absorption. After 50, the rules change. Your body needs more support, not more calcium, but smarter calcium. This is why blanket solutions don't work. What helped at 30th may not help at 60. And that's okay, our bodies aren't failing. They're simply evolving. The key is to evolve with them. So what can we do? Well, one powerful way to work with your body, not against it, is to look beyond milk, beyond pills, and into the foods that naturally nourish and support absorption. In fact, there are 7 surprising foods that don't just contain calcium, they deliver it in ways your body truly understands. And up next, we'll start with a tiny seed that packs a mighty punch. It's soft, simple, and chances are, it's already in your pantry. Let me introduce you to the small but mighty chia seed. Number 4. The 7 calcium heroes that outshine milk, and how to use them right. There's a little glass jar on my kitchen shelf. Inside are dozens of tiny black specks, chia seeds. My daughter once looked at them and said, "They look like nothing." I smiled and said, "Funny thing is, they're stronger than milk." 1. Chia seeds. The tiny Titan 100 grams of chia seeds contain over 600 milligrams of calcium. That's more than a cup of milk. But what makes chia special isn't just the calcium content, it's the package it comes in: omega-3s for heart and brain, fiber for better digestion, plant-based protein. And most importantly, it's gentle on aging stomachs. How to use it: mix 2 teaspoons with almond milk and a dash of cinnamon. Let it sit overnight. In the morning, you'll wake up to a creamy chia pudding that feels like comfort and nourishment in 1 spoon. Real story: Alan, a 72-year-old viewer from Colorado, started adding chia to his yogurt after watching our last video. 3 months later, his doctor saw a small but measurable improvement in bone density. Alan said, "It felt too simple to work." But it did. 2. Almonds, the crunch that builds you up. Almonds give you about 260 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams, and even more importantly, they come with magnesium, which helps your body absorb and place calcium where it belongs. They're easy to snack on, blend into smoothies, sprinkle on salads, or turn into almond butter for toast. 1 tip: soak them overnight to make them easier on digestion. 3. Sesame seeds and tahini, the ancient secret. Sesame seeds are small but mighty. offering nearly 1,000 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams. They also contain zinc, magnesium, and healthy fats that soothe inflammation and support joints. Don't know how to eat them? Try tahini, a creamy sesame paste found in Middle Eastern cuisine. Spread it on toast, stir into dressings, or swirl into oatmeal. A story from Lebanon. A friend's 82-year-old father ate tahini with flatbread every morning. No cane, no walker, just long walks and strong bones. 4. Sardines, with bones, nature's calcium capsule. They may not win popularity contests, but sardines are loaded with calcium, vitamin D, omega-3s, and protein, everything bones crave. The trick? Eat them with the bones, they're soft and digestible. Try them in tomato-based sauces, on crackers with lemon, or mashed into avocado toast. Pro tip, always pair with something acidic, like lemon juice, to enhance flavor and digestion. 5. Tofu, calcium set, the gentle giant. Not all tofu is created equal. Look for calcium set tofu, made with calcium sulfate. It provides around 350 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams. It's versatile. Stir fry with garlic and broccoli. Blend into smoothies. Bake into crispy cubes for salads. Carol, a retired nurse, switched to tofu after her cholesterol spiked. I thought I'd hate it, she said. Now it's her favorite part of the weeknight stir fry. 6.
Collard greens. The Southern Supergreen 100 grams gives you 230 milligrams of calcium, along with vitamins K, A, and C, all vital for bone regeneration.
What's more, collard greens are low in oxalates, unlike spinach, meaning your body absorbs calcium from them better. Sauté with olive oil, garlic, and a pinch of salt, comforting and nourishing in one bite. 7. Kale, the popular pick that deserves the hype. Kale contains about 150 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams and is known for its high bioavailability, meaning your body actually absorbs most of it. Great raw in salads, baked into chips, or blended into green smoothies. Quick comparison: spinach equals high in calcium but high in oxalates, less absorption. Kale equals modest calcium, better absorption. Calcium isn't just about quantity, it's about how your body receives it. The right foods and the right combinations make all the difference. But even when we eat well, there's a hidden danger. Calcium doesn't always go where we want it to go. Sometimes, it ends up in the arteries, the kidneys, places it doesn't belong. In the next part, we'll look at the dangers of misplaced calcium, and how to make sure it ends up in your bones, not your bloodstream. Let's talk about the pitfalls that even healthy people fall into. Coming up next, number 5. Dangerous pitfalls, when calcium goes to the wrong places. I once met a woman named Grace at a senior wellness workshop in Arizona. She was in her late 60s, full of warmth, with a kind smile, but her eyes carried a quiet frustration. I don't get it, she said. I take my calcium every day. I avoid soda. I walk. And still, I was told I have early signs of artery calcification. How could that happen? Grace isn't alone. Thousands of people, just like her, follow what they think are healthy habits, only to find out that calcium went where it wasn't supposed to. Here's the hard truth. Calcium doesn't automatically know where to go. Without the right guidance, from vitamins, minerals, and lifestyle, calcium can settle in the wrong places. In the arteries, where it hardens blood vessels and raises the risk of heart disease. In the kidneys, leading to painful stones. In the joints, causing stiffness that mimics arthritis. We often imagine calcium flowing straight to our bones like a magnet. But the body isn't that simple. It needs signals. It needs support. And if those signals are missing, well, even the best intentions can lead us astray. Let's go back to Grace. She was doing everything by the book: calcium supplements, low-fat diet, regular exercise. But her vitamin D was low, and she didn't know about vitamin K2. K2 is like the traffic director for calcium. Without it, calcium may never make it to the bones, it might get stuck along the way. Grace changed 2 small things. She added fermented foods like Gouda cheese and natto to her weekly meals. She spent 15 minutes outside in the early morning sun each day. 6 months later, her doctor told her the calcification had stabilized. More than that, she felt better. Clearer. Lighter. Calcium isn't just about adding, it's about guiding. Without direction, even the most powerful nutrient can turn harmful. So, how do we give calcium the guidance it needs? We call in its 2 best friends. Vitamin D, the doorman that lets calcium in. Vitamin K2, the compass that leads it home, to your bones. In the next part, we'll meet this power trio. Together, They don't just build strong bones. They protect your heart, your joints, and your future. Let's explore how to combine nutrients the smart way, so calcium becomes your ally, not a risk. Coming up, the Power Trio, Calcium plus D plus K2. Number 6. The Power Trio, Calcium plus Vitamin D plus K2. A few winters ago, I visited my cousin Linda in Minnesota. She's 67, full of life, but like many during the colder months, she barely saw the sun. I take my calcium pills every morning, she told me, placing her bottle back in the cabinet. But I still get these dull aches in my legs, and my energy just dips. So I asked her, "Are you also taking vitamin D and K2? She paused, confused. Wait, what do those have to do with my bones? It's a question I hear all the time. And the answer? Everything. You see, calcium can only do its job with help. On its own, it's like a delivery truck with no GPS. It might get lost, stuck, or worse, cause harm. But when you pair calcium with vitamin D and vitamin K2, something powerful happens. Let's break it down. Sun emoji, vitamin D, the doorman. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium from the gut into the bloodstream. No D, no absorption, no matter how much calcium you take. We get it from sunlight. Just 15 to 20 minutes a day can make a difference. Fatty fish like salmon and sardines. Egg yolks, fortified milk, or supplements. In winter or for people with darker skin tones, supplements are often necessary. Compass emoji, vitamin K2, the traffic director. While D brings calcium in, K2 tells calcium where to go, specifically, into your bones and teeth, not your arteries. Without K2, calcium can settle in soft tissues. Over time, that means calcified arteries, kidney stones, or joint stiffness. You'll find K2 in fermented foods, natto, aged cheeses, sauerkraut, grass-fed butter, pasture-raised egg yolks, and chicken liver. Important, K2 is not the same as K1, found in leafy greens. K2 is harder to get from diet alone, so supplementation may help. Test tube emoji, the trio in action. Let me share what happened with Linda. After adding a daily vitamin D3 supplement, 2000 IU, a small piece of aged Gouda cheese a few times a week, more sardines and tofu into her meals. She wrote to me 2 months later. I can feel the difference, not just in my bones, but in my mood, my energy, even my sleep. I didn't realize how disconnected everything had become. True strength doesn't come from one nutrient alone, it comes from teamwork. So, now that you know how to help calcium work smarter, you might be wondering, how much do I actually need each day? Am I getting too little, or maybe too much? That's where we're headed next. Because knowing the right number can make a world of difference in how you plan your meals, your supplements, and your health. Let's simplify the numbers and clear the confusion. Coming up, how much calcium do you really need? Number 7. How much calcium do you really need? And when to take it? A few weeks ago, I got a handwritten letter from Mr. Thomas, a 75-year-old gentleman from Vermont. I watched your last video, he wrote. Thank you for explaining calcium so clearly. But I still have one big question. How much is enough? And is there such a thing as too much? What a great question. And honestly, one most of us don't ask until we've either taken too little, or too much, for far too long. Let's start with the numbers, simplified. According to the National Institutes of Health, men aged 51 to 70 need about 1,000 milligrams/day. Women 51 plus and all adults over 70 need 1,200 milligrams/day. But here's the part most people miss. Right pointing finger emoji, your body can't absorb more than about 500 to 600 milligrams of calcium at a time. Which means, if you take a 1,200 milligrams supplement all at once, half of it goes to waste, or worse, builds up in the wrong places. So the smart way to meet your needs? Spread your intake throughout the day. Think of calcium like water for your plants, you don't dump it all at once. You sprinkle it, gently, so the roots can soak it in. Receipt emoji, let's walk through a sample day. Breakfast, chia pudding with almond milk 180 milligrams. Lunch, tofu stir-fry with broccoli 350 milligrams. Snack, a handful of almonds 100 milligrams. Dinner, collard greens sautéed with garlic 230 milligrams. Bonus, a cup of fortified plant milk 300 milligrams. Total, 1,160 milligrams, no supplements needed. And if you do take supplements, choose ones that contain calcium citrate, easier on aging stomachs. Take them with food, never on an empty stomach. And split your dose, half in the morning, half in the evening. Older person emoji, a story to remember. Marcia, a 68-year-old retired teacher, had been taking one massive calcium pill every morning, 1,200 milligrams, washed down with her coffee. She started experiencing bloating and kidney discomfort. After adjusting her approach, cutting the dose, changing the form, and pairing it with meals, those issues eased. And her bone scans? They finally started moving in the right direction. Calcium isn't just about the how much. It's about the how smart. And now that you know how much you need, there's one last piece of the puzzle. What could be blocking your body from holding onto that calcium in the first place? It turns out, certain foods, habits, and even drinks could be secretly undoing all your efforts. Let's explore those hidden calcium blockers, so you can stop wasting what you work so hard to build. Coming up next, the calcium blockers, foods and habits that work against you. Number 8. The calcium blockers, foods and habits that work against you. Margaret, a lovely 71-year-old woman from Oregon, once told me something I'll never forget. I eat my greens, I take my supplements, and I walk every day, she said. But my doctor still says my calcium levels are low. I'm doing everything right. Aren't I? The truth? She was doing most things right. But like many of us, she didn't realize there were invisible thieves, foods and habits, that were stealing the calcium she worked so hard to get. Yes, calcium blockers are real. And they're more common than you think. Let's uncover the biggest culprits. 1. Too much caffeine. That morning coffee? It's fine. But 3 to 5 cups a day? That's where trouble starts. Excess caffeine increases calcium loss through urine, especially when consumed without food. Better choice, pair your coffee with breakfast and consider switching 1 cup to herbal tea. Salt emoji. 2. High sodium diet. Salt doesn't just raise blood pressure, it also causes your body to excrete more calcium through the kidneys. Watch out for processed foods, canned soups, deli meats, restaurant meals. Margaret, by the way, was eating low-fat frozen meals, convenient, but loaded with sodium. Once she switched to fresh ingredients, her next checkup showed noticeable improvement. Leafy green emoji. 3. Oxalates in certain vegetables. This one surprises people. Spinach, beet greens, rhubarb, they're healthy, yes, but also high in oxalates, which can bind to calcium and block its absorption. Solution: don't eliminate them, but balance them. Steam or sauté spinach to reduce oxalates. Combine with foods rich in vitamin C, like lemon juice, to aid calcium availability. Rotate in low oxalate greens like kale and collard greens. Beverage box emoji. 4. Soft drinks and phosphoric acid. Colas, especially dark sodas, contain phosphoric acid, which disrupts the calcium-phosphorus balance in your body. Over time, this weakens bones, even if your calcium intake is high. A 65-year-old man named Leo told me, "I quit soda and started drinking mineral water with lemon. It was a tiny change, but I swear, my knees hurt less now." Sometimes, less is more. Pill emoji. 5. Taking calcium supplements on an empty stomach. This one's subtle. Calcium, especially carbonate form, needs stomach acid for absorption. If taken on an empty stomach, much of it passes through unused. Tip: take it with a meal. Or use calcium citrate, which doesn't require as much acid. Building strong bones isn't just about what you add, it's about what you avoid. So, you've learned where calcium comes from, how to absorb it, how much to take, and what gets in the way. But now it's time to bring all that knowledge together, and see it in action. Because real change doesn't come from just watching a video. It comes from doing. Are you ready to turn insight into habit? In the next section, I'll walk you through a simple, life-changing 7-day challenge. No gimmicks. No complicated plans. Just small, delicious steps, one day at a time. Coming up, your 7-day bone strength challenge, number 9 and 10. Real life change plus your 7-day bone strength challenge. A while back, I received a message that still warms my heart every time I read it. It was from a woman named Nancy, 74 years old, living in Colorado. She wrote, "I didn't think tiny changes would matter at this age. But I started adding chia to my breakfast, swapped out soda for sparkling water, and made a small kale salad every other night. 3 months later, my doctor said something I hadn't heard in years: your bones are holding steady." Nancy's story isn't unique. It's part of a quiet ripple happening in homes across the country. Seniors like her, like you, are discovering that change doesn't need to be overwhelming. It just needs to be intentional. Let me share a few more stories that give me hope. James, a retired mailman, added sardines and tofu to his lunch twice a week. He told me, "I feel stronger just knowing I'm feeding my bones better." Evelyn, 69, started walking during the golden hour every morning. She gets sunshine and peace in one gentle routine. Thomas, who you heard about earlier, keeps a little list of calcium-rich foods taped to his fridge. He checks off what he eats each day, like a game, he said. These aren't radical transformations. But they're real. And that's what inspired me to create this next part, for you. Seedling emoji, your 7-day bone strength challenge. Each day for the next week, try one small action to support your bones. No pressure. No perfection. Just presence. Here's a gentle roadmap. Day 1, add chia seeds to breakfast. Right pointing finger emoji, mix with almond milk, or stir into oatmeal or yogurt. Day 2, swap one snack for a handful of almonds. Right pointing finger emoji, bonus, soak them overnight for easier digestion. Day 3, make a quick tahini dressing. Right pointing finger emoji, drizzle over steamed veggies or grain bowls. Day 4, include sardines in lunch. Right pointing finger emoji, try them mashed with mustard on whole grain toast, or stirred into tomato pasta. Day 5, cook with calcium set tofu. Right pointing finger emoji, sauté with garlic and greens, or bake into crispy cubes. Day 6, go for a walk in the morning sun. Right pointing finger emoji, even just 15 minutes helps boost vitamin D naturally. Day 7, rotate in kale or collard greens at dinner. Right pointing finger emoji, lightly sautéed with olive oil and lemon. Delicious and bone smart. And as you do this, take a moment each day to notice. Are you sleeping better? Is your digestion smoother? Do you feel just a little stronger, a little more energized? Write it down. Because these small shifts, they compound. They build you, quietly and steadily, from the inside out. You don't have to change everything. Just start somewhere, and let your body meet you halfway. Now, before we end, I have one last gentle ask. Right pointing finger emoji, if this video gave you even one helpful insight, would you mind giving it a thumbs up? Right pointing finger emoji, leave a comment below. What's the one thing you'll try this week? Right pointing finger emoji, and if you want more videos that help you stay strong, sharp, and joyful after 50. Subscribe and ring the bell. We're just getting started. Because aging doesn't mean shrinking. It means becoming wiser, lighter, and more intentional with every step. Until next time, take care of your bones and the beautiful life they carry.